there, position number 1, pole position, Toby Summers. Second row on the grid, I should say, gone right up there into third place, and but held it in third place, so everyone gets around that first corner okay. A bit of argy-bargy further down the field, but it is John Ross out there in the front, followed by Al Hugenboozem there. Good clean getaway for John Ross. Get off the line, sometimes he can bog down, but most of the time he shows us good clean racing and a gentleman to boot. And I know his old man Larry, in fact I'll have a look down the pit lane, his old man Larry, who just went out in that last race on bike number 11, will be watching hard. Al Hugenboozem closes up on brakes. Now Al's had some good strong showings in the last couple of seasons, and is a good strong threat to John Ross there. He closes up again there, so expect fireworks here, but watch out for that flying bike in number 4, the 77 of Toby Summers, the Yamaha of Toby Summers on the R&R Power Sports machine from Auckland, and sponsored by Summers Plumbers, his own his own company. So the plumber, an Englishman, raced 600s over in England, then come out to New Zealand, decided to give the motarding a go, and then eventually he slipped across and got into 600, and still you'll see him at the Suzuki Series equally at home on the motard as he is on the 600cc bike, and some people can't adapt to that. Big change there for third position there. That is Toby Summers has gone up on James Hugenboozem. We see the Honda of, I think Dan met him in 4th place, and there's a Yamaha of Reese Holmes from Kelly there in 5th, so it is Ross, Hugenboozem, Summers, and another Hugenboozem, and then Chambers there, followed by Reese Holmes, Jeremy Holmes from Invercargill, Dan Metten is down there in 8th place, Dave Manuel, Cameron from Christchurch, Cameron Hudson on bike number 61, rounds up the top 10. Now it's a 10-lap race for these 600 super sports, a bit of a sprint, but also a bit of endurance for the weekend, because there's 3 races, that's 30 laps plus all the practice. Al Hugenboozem is very, very strong through the infield there. He's closing up on John Ross. John Ross seems to have the legs out in the distance in there, but every corner he seems to close up a couple of bike lengths under brakes there. We look at John Ross sitting up there, coming out of the corner, and through that fast sweeper, there's nothing in it between these two bikes. Maybe John Ross gains a bike length there, so it's 8 to 10 bike lengths. We're looking at about 12 bike lengths back to the Summers Plumbers Yamaha 600. Then we go to Adam Chambers, and I think there might be a change there. Reese Holmes might have been put back, and that's probably by James Hugenboozem as they disappear out in the distance. I'm going to just disappear outside and get me a drink. Sorry about that, folks, but I'm professional, but the man's got to have his sugar today and a bit of a cool drink, although not as cold as they could be, but that's what a man's got to do sometimes. Tomorrow we'll have 2 commentators. The pack's closing up. Look at the 7-7 bike of Summers Plumbers coming through now. John Ross got out in the wet race down south of the third side. In the second race, it's like a 23-24 second lead. There's 3 of the guys started from pit lane to go in to get their wets on. And those 4 guys started, I think, from pit lane, and 3 of them got up into 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And it's all dry here at Taupo today, and it's all plenty of action out there on the track. And it is still John Ross, but what are we doing? The fastest man on the track is Adam Chambers. Now, why is that? Well, he's a Napier man, but he's also sponsored by Wolfpack Racing, and that is Jamie and Wes Rajek from... there's Al Hugenboozem, the big dive up on the inside to try and show John Ross that he's there. In fact, he was just doing more than a bit trying. He was actually trying to get through there. He didn't want... But John Ross shut the door on him. So, sorry, we'll go back to Adam Chambers, the fastest man on the track with a 1:31.66. He's half a second quicker than anyone else on the track at the moment. That's a powerful showing that spends a lot of time here at Taupo, because that is the base of the Wolfpack Racing team. Jamie Rajek's sponsoring him, and Daniel Metten. So that's one of the reasons that Adam Chambers is on fire here. Had some good showings at Wanganui Cemetery Circuit. A man equally at home on a closed circuit like this as he is in a street circuit. They come flying down the long straight there. It is still John Ross. He's got the legs down there. But watch for Al Hugenboozem closing up. Don't discount that bike of Toby Summers there in 3rd place, and of course Honda there in 4th. So it's Suzuki, Yamaha, Honda. We go back there. It's still Reese Holmes on the John Tuhori Racing R6. A big angle of riders there into about 7th or 8th place, and it would be James Hugenboozem, Dan Metten, and I think that might be Cameron Hudson there. In fact, no, it's Jeremy Holmes at the Honda from South. Jeremy Holmes there in that gang legal as well, so plenty of action, always action in the 600 Super Sport class. We see the front wheel rising there as he comes out. It's a John Ross as he comes out of that right-hander there on the turn 2, I think, of the circuit here at Taupo. Hoogenboozem takes another look upside, shows him half a wheel, and that is on the very, very swept out right-hander there. Watch him dive up on the inside again. No, can't quite do it, but there is only a bike length between John Ross and Al Hoogenboozem. Now, Al Hoogenboozem had a big accident down at Timaru earlier this season. In fact, it wasn't this season, earlier last year at a club day, and did some severe nerve damage in his arm, and they said he might never recover from that, and he is carrying a weak arm in that, so hats off to this man there. If he had his full strength of his arm, mate, he might be the one disappearing off in the distance. So top showing, and the Hoogenboozem family, there's normally sometimes up to 4 of them racing at a meeting. There's Al, James, brother Matt, sometimes doing 2 classes, and also the father there as well. Sometimes comes out there in the development class as well. Not too sure whether he's racing this weekend. Down that flying back straight there, or side straight, or wherever you like to call it there, it is still John Ross. There's 3 bike lengths in it, and still the fastest man on the track at the moment is Adam James. Toby Summers closes up some room over and above Hoogenboozem, and that is Al Hoogenboozem on number 43. That's that number, that's Ken Blocks, the rally drift guy. Hoogenboozem's got this number from, but look at that, 4 bikes there, that's probably about 6 bike lengths here at Taupo. There's the 600. Hoogenboozem right on the tail, loses a bit of pace there, gets right up from John Ross, but loses a little bit of pace. Toby Summers has got the keen seat here, and Adam Chapman is still the fastest man on the track there, 40% down. And there is Hoogenboozem on the inside there. I think it was the inside. I was looking at the laptop there. And he's on the inside of John Ross. And Toby Summers almost made a pass there as well. So Toby's on fire. Maybe John made a bit of a mistake, or I think probably he was more a bit sort of spooked by Al Hoogenboozem coming through there. Not a man to worry too much, but maybe I think that John Ross sort of had to take a little bit of evasive action there, because Al definitely had the racing line in there, and Toby Summers on the 77 R&R Power Sport sponsored machine sort of almost capitalised that. That pack's disappeared off in the distance. Adam Chambers was only a bike length behind as they disappear out of sight. And so we go back into 5th place. Rhys Holmes is going to get pressured by Daniel Metham on another of the Wolfpack bikes there. So Rhys is in 5th. Dan Metham in 6th. James Hoogenboozem, Jeremy Holmes, Dave Manuel, Cam Hudson, Dan Kempthorne, Aaron Hassan, Rex Mincher, the Taupo man's moved up into 13. We've got Travis Merkel, son of the former world Superbike champion Fred Merkel, Nathan Diprose, Paul Coop, Mike McDonald, Mark Bennett, Andrew Evans, Dylan Jones, and Carl Benamore out there on the track at the moment. I'm not even sure there's any more, to be honest, but that feels like Hoogie's made a mistake going off the first corner and has lost 1st place. But look, he comes back on the inside of John Ross, right there, and hasn't lost anything more than 1 place, so he's gone from 1st to 2nd, and Toby Summers sitting there in the hot seat in 3rd place. There's nothing in it here. You watch John Ross close that door, definitely close the door that time round. He's not letting Hoogenboozem up on the inside. Hoogenboozem pops his front wheel up right on the inside of John Ross. Mate, that's just about too easy there. Right on the inside of John Ross as they go into that sort of hairpin there, and that's a left-hander here at Taupo, so it's action aplenty there, and it looks to me like Dan Metham's got the good break over and above Rhys Holmes there. Dan Metham there flying off into in 5th place. He's got about 250 metres up to that lead pack of 4 bikes, so that's Dan Metham has made the break going through there over and above Rhys Holmes, and Rhys is under threat from the Honda Invercargill Jeremy Holmes machine, and Al Hoogenboozem sitting there in the hot seat. Look, there's nothing in it. These guys are tightening up closer and closer. I watched them coming out of that, they disappear out of sight, they come back onto there, and there's nothing. It looks like Hoogenboozem is back in the front. John Ross is going to fight back. John Ross dives up on the inside. Now that's a big balls manoeuvre, that one there, so, but certainly a man of his ability can do it. And there goes Adam Chambers up on the inside of Toby Summers. So the Wolfpack Racing Adam Chambers machine there is flying. Too. And a very, very talented rider. This, in fact, all 4 of these guys are very, very talented. I couldn't even drive a car this fast. I couldn't even get in the front seat some days. But certainly there's plenty of action out there in the front, and to me it looks like Dan Evans goes back up there and may even get up into the 6 lap down of a 10-lap race. John Ross in the front there, he come off that kink off the front straight there and gained back the 1st place. Got plenty of points lead at the moment. He's got 141 points, whereas Toby Summers is sitting there on 103. Al Hoogenboozem is in 92, so he doesn't need to win this race, but because he's the race's racer and everybody wants to win if they can, so they come out of that hairpin again. It is still John Ross, Al Hugenbosom, and Adam Chambers over and above Toby Summers. Dan Neville is on the way back there, and like I said, Reece Holmes is under threat by Jeremy Holmes, the home show. These guys have had some good dices over the last couple of seasons, and they're dicing there as they disappear off the distance. In fact, I think it might have been Jeremy Holmes just snuck up on the inside of Reece. The leathers are very, very similar coloured, and can't quite see. Off into the distance, they come along that long front straight. We're down into there's still the quickest man on the track is on lap 2 was Adam Chambers. Other people, some of them have done it on lap 6. John Ross has done lap 4, but let's look back on the change of position there, and that is Toby Summers outbraked Adam Chambers coming off that back straight. Dan Medham's closing up there, so we'll be interested to see how fast his lap time is there. There's nothing in it. I'll tell you how they go across the start courses. That's how quickly they are. There is Suzuki, Yamaha versus Honda, and when I say that, the Honda goes right round the outside of Toby Summers, doesn't quite make it stick, makes the track a little bit longer in that area, doesn't, but he certainly has a lot of good. These guys are quitters, they're all having a good show. But John Ross, look at him, he's going to shut that door again for Al Hugenbosom. He's a wise man. In fact, I said he's going to shut the door. He just passed him earlier in the corner. That's all he did. In fact, he shunted him right wide, and he's gone back to 4th place. John Ross, that was a clean move, I think. It looked pretty clean to me, but it was earlier on. Al Hugenbosom was passing John Ross later on in the corner, and John had gone a little bit wide, possibly to shut that door, and maybe even left the door open. So Hugenbosom shot up on the inside. Then it was Toby Summers and Adam Chambers. As I just say that, Adam Chambers has moved up on the Wolfpack Racing motorcycle into 2nd place. So what a change within a lap. Just about everybody in that lead pack of 4 has swapped around at least once. Some of them were first back to 4th place, so that's John Ross. We're looking out the distance. They're no looser or no tighter than they were on the last lap. 7 laps gone of a 10-lap race for the first race here at Taupo. Oh, mate, I know, there's a lot of people over there watching the motocross, New Zealand Motocross Championships today, just a few kilometres away. I hope a lot of them are going to come over and watch the action tomorrow, because we've got twice as much action tomorrow with 2 races. So wait for Toby Summers. Toby Summers is a hungry man. He's never happy with 2nd or 3rd place. He wants that win. And he's almost on schedule for it still. Adam Chambers has still got the quickest lap in the race on number 2, but I tell you who's on fire now is Toby Summers. Put his quickest lap in on lap 7, and he's sitting there in the hot seat in 2nd spot. So he would have been following Hugenbosom most of the race. This guy's in 2nd and 3rd now, up to 2nd, so he knows every move he's got on the track. He was just working out where he can shut it up on the inside. Tries a little bit there in the infield right-hander, but doesn't quite make. Gets a drive coming out of the corner now. Hugenbosom pops a wheel up in the front, and a bit better braking there by Hugenbosom with the whole pack closing up. Summers close up, but the man who made the most closing up there was Adam Chambers on the Honda CBR 600. Don't discount John Ross. John Ross doesn't need the points, but of course he needs a trophy on the shop. There's Summers right round the outside on that very, very fast right-hander. A very rare place to see people pass, and he's made it stick as well. He's made it stick. You can see his black leathers disappearing off in the distance. They're gone, but there's white leathers in 2nd place, so that means that Toby Summers, who set his fastest lap in lap 7 of a 10-lap race, has made the move there into 1st place, and he's made it stick and he's made it open up. He'd probably have 12, 15 bike lengths down that front straight. Here comes John Ross through from 4th place. Watch him try and outbreak Al Hugenbosom. Look at it, mate, that was amazing. How the hell did he do it? Almost took 2 people there. So it is Summers, Chambers, Ross and Al Hugenbosom. I think John Ross went a little bit wide on that chicane there, outbreak himself just that smidgen. Not enough to lose the place there. So Toby Summers, Adam Chambers, John Ross, Al Hugenbosom as they go across the start-finish line. Look, it's about for the next person in line. There's Dan Neville, and then Jeremy Holmes, as I said, has got through on Reece Holmes. We're looking out for James Hugenbosom on the Lonely 85 bike there, and we've got Cam Kempthorne. That's the machine that Glenn Williams, the man who's had so many super light Formula 3 wins in the countryside, decided to get a 600 win from the UK, had a play on that, and I think he's decided to retire. So that's the machine Dan Kempthorne's got. Look at the lead that Toby Summers has got now. He's got about 15 bike lengths as they can press up into that hairpin. It was about 20 as they were leading into that. So Toby Summers is just showing us all the clean set of heels, and just 1 lap to go. The white flag is out here for the first Supersport 600 race at Taupo Motorsports Park. Oh, got to get a breather, I think. Had to sip on a bit of a drink. Mate, I always like the 600 racing. I mean, there's no class that's particularly lesser than the others, but the 600 racing always brings some great surprises. Although no surprises who's out in the front four. It's the usual suspects, and maybe a little bit better showing from Jeremy Holmes. Sometimes he doesn't seem to do as well on the North Island as the South Island. I think he knows those tracks, but he's still in a good solid sixth place. So down that back straight there, it is Toby Summers. John Ross comes through on the inside of Adam Chambers there. Runs it a little bit wide, but saves that. In fact, here we go. Adam Chambers on the inside. Everybody in the commentator tower takes a big breath and a bit of a moan, and there it is. A win for Toby Summers. That'll be the first New Zealand Superbike Championship win. That's absolutely incredible. And John Ross goes through. John Ross picked in and got the best lap time of the race. Then on lap 10, put in a 1:31.409, which was 0.4 of a second quicker than Toby Summers, but it wasn't enough, but it still was enough to get through into second place. Decreases by a fraction. We had 1:41.103, so we're probably expecting that to be, I can't even count at the moment, but it will close up the field. Certainly not a significant amount, but what a great showing. And I know his wife Kirsten was here today, with their couple of kids, and they would have been cheering Daddy on. And she was watching on CTAS live timing for the South Island round, so that's where we're at the moment. So congratulations Toby Summers on 77, Yamaha, John Ross on Suzuki, followed by Honda on